Alrighty, so you can see from the Facebook.
Right, I'm watching it from over here. And I see you on Zoom.
Okay, so you need to pay attention to the comments on the Facebook page. Don't worry about the Zoom.
I got you. I got the comments. I just have to turn off the volume over here. I got it.
So you need to pay attention to the comments.
And it's delayed.
Don't worry about the Zoom. I got you.
And it's delayed.
Turn the volume on your computer.
I got it. All right, so we're going to start now. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Trans Experience with myself, Davone, First Lady of Pretty Tomboys, and everything in between. I'm not even going to go into my titles because today it's not about me. It is about Jevon and us discussing the trans experience. So I know everything about Jevon. He's a personal brother of mine. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself.
Well, thank you, Davone. I appreciate this. And this is an important meeting to talk about the trans experience. So my name is Jevon Martin, and I am the founder and CEO, executive director of Princess Janae Place, which is a housing referral organization for the LGBT community with emphasis on the trans community. And this is the adults from the ages of 24 to 62, because that is the most marginalized community that we miss with the housing for those that are not HIV positive, right? So we found that in our community, homelessness is an issue. So I took it upon myself to house the community. We also have mental health, recreational therapists. We also have access to referrals to financial literacy training. We do a lot. Whatever you need in the community, we find a way to make it happen for you.
Why did you start this? I know the backstory, but I want you to tell the backstory and why did you start this?
So I started Princess Janae Place in honor of Princess Janae. She was my gay mother in the community, in the street. She was the one who named me Jevon after her and Jennifer. I used to do drag back in the day. And my name was spelled with an A at the beginning because it was Janae and Jennifer made Jevon, and I changed it to an E, right? Because I felt more comfortable with an E. But Janae passed away of lymphoma cancer in 2013. Janae used to house everyone. Before she even moved to the Bronx, New York, her last resting place. She was born and raised in Brooklyn. Her mom, her granddad, her grandparents, and she was into the church. She was in the street. She was put out of her home for being who she was, gay, trans. So when she did come into an apartment, she always made space for other people. Dominique, Tyra from Pose, she used to live with her. There's so many people used to stay with her throughout her journey in life. And when she passed away, I felt the need to uphold her legacy and keep her mission to help people alive. And she instilled that in me. And she also told me, don't ever let anyone tell you who you cannot be and what you cannot do. So I pass that on to everyone else, just to be the best you that you can be in the community and always pay it forward.
Hold on 1 minute. That is my dog barking.
I heard.
I know. She won't stop, so I have to kick her out the room for a little bit.
Well, that's not helping. You should have brought her in.
She's been in the room. She's been in the room just barking because she hears your voice and you can still hear her. Let me open up the door.
I told you.
She is just angry. She's so angry. She hears your voice and it's a foreign voice. So
who's talking.
She's not feeling this male energy in my house. She ain't feeling this.
She's like, who is that? I don't see him.
Right. My mother don't be having males in her house. All of that. All right. So we are going to focus on the trans experience, particularly Jevon's experience. But before we focus on that, I just want to touch base on some terms that we use in the LGBTQIA plus community that we may use today in our conversation, and so you know what we're talking about. So basically, I think it's common knowledge what lesbian is and gay is. But let's just discuss, because a lot of times people get sexual and gender confused. So let's just touch base on bisexual. What is your definition of a bisexual person?
So my definition of a bisexual person is someone that interacts in sexual activity with both genders, male and female.
Okay, so let's discuss a new term that became popular when Janelle Monáe came out as pansexual.
Okay, so no, it's good because I am pansexual, and a pansexual person for me is attracted to anyone, right? Um, Male, female, cisgender, male, female, trans, male, female, non-binary, gender non-conforming, and I'm a true believer of treat me how I want to be treated. I'll treat you how you want to be treated. Love me, don't hurt me. So as long as I'm receiving the love, I'm good with whoever you are. Doesn't matter. I've dated trans men, trans women, cis women. So yeah.
So let's get into, because you touched base on that, cisgender. I consider myself cisgender. Let's touch base on that definition.
Okay. Cisgender.
What is your definition of cisgender?
Cisgender is someone that identifies with the gender that they were born with at birth. So if you were born as female and you live your life as female, you are cisgender. And vice versa. If you were born a male and you live your life as a male, you are cisgender.
So to just clarify that, you can be lesbian or male gay and still be a cisgender woman or cisgender male. Right. You just need that to be clear.
Right.
That you can be both.
Yes, that is true.
Let's talk about, because you touched base on this as well, gender non-conforming and non-binary.
Right. So gender non-conforming, non-binary people are ones that do not associate with gender, right? Gender non-binary. They do not associate with neither male or female. They identify as themselves, right? And I would rather a gender non-conforming, non-binary person speak on their experience with defining that as well, because for them it might mean something different, and they go by them and
they, right?
Right. Also, they do not live with the heteronormative gender barriers, right?
Right.
Yeah, they do not live in the gender.
Okay. So now, before we touch base on transgender and get into that deeply, let's discuss briefly about intersex and then transgender. Because intersex is a term that is new for a lot of people and is being used a lot now.
Right. So intersex, right, is someone that is born with both genitals. And right now we have gone before the medical boards and asked them not to gender the children that are born, because you don't know what they will grow up as, who they will grow up to become. So we're asking to leave the gender box blank and allow children to go up whoever they want to be. So intersex people with both genitals, you don't know. Back in the day, the parents got to choose if they wanted a boy or a girl, right? Now we're asking them, please don't do that, because some kids are growing up the opposite gender that the parents wanted them to be. And it's really mentally disturbing, mentally painful. It's a lot, right? Growing up as a male, but yet you don't have, right? And growing up, vice versa, it just allow kids to be who they want to be. We have to unlearn what we know to learn what's happening now in 2020. And I just base it all on love. Just treat people how you want to be treated. That's about
Okay. So we touched base on a lot of the terminology that we may use tonight. And you can Google any of these terminologies, or you can go into the chat and discuss them. And we'll come into the chat later on and help you understand any of this. This is all about education. So let's get into the meat and potatoes about transgender people.
Okay, so transgender, and I want to make this clear for everyone watching. There is no S at the end of the word transgender, right? Because the person is transgender. There are transgender people. There are no transgenders. There's no there's no transgendering. Yeah, so it's just transgender. That person is transgender, and there are transgender people, right? And that's how it works. I've seen a lot of people switch that around, and yeah, that's not how it works. Um, so the transgender experience. Uh, you want to ask specific questions, or?
Well, let's start from, we discussed this earlier. I used to have a radio show, Dollhouse Radio, and my experience was my second girlfriend turned transgender. He is deceased now, Osiris, and he came to me and told me that he was transgender. I didn't understand what that was. And being a radio show host, I needed to discuss that. And so I asked Jevon to come on to discuss that, because this was maybe in about 2008. And you had started your transition when? 2000?
Yes, I started my transition medically.
Medically.
Because back then you had to live in the life you wanted to live for 2 years prior to even, taking hormones, speaking to the right people. The therapist didn't even know what to do with me. But we can get back into that, and we'll keep it direct questions.
So I asked you on the radio show, and it opened up a world of questions. People was calling up, stating that they felt that they was transgender. They was asking you intense questions on how they can go through the experience, where to start. And so let's start from the beginning. What made you feel like you was in the wrong body?
Okay, so I didn't feel like I was in the wrong body. I was always me, who I was. And growing up, I just knew there was a disconnect, right? I didn't feel comfortable in women's clothing, didn't feel comfortable in the way I was told I was supposed to act, walk, be, look. And that uncomfortability for me was like, I just give up. I was 7 years old wearing women's 7 shoe. So people used to make fun of me, call me Sasquatch and all of these names. And I was the tallest in my class. I played basketball. I played softball, volleyball, very, very sports orientated, a tomboy, right? Um, I didn't have how do you say a word for who I was. I knew about drag queens, I knew about gay men, lesbian, and all of that. I didn't know about transgender because that's not what it was said back then. Back then, it was a tranny, right? It was transsexual, right?
Actually,
Um, and those words are derogatory.
they are.
Some older trans people still use tranny, but I don't use it. And they were predominantly trans women. Did not meet any trans guys, didn't have any mentors back then to guide me anyway. So I lived my life as who I was, and I did drag shows. I met several trans women, and they embraced me. Out of the blue, I met someone that said, "Hey, is this something that you want to do?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I really want to do this." I lived my life as a full woman, have a daughter, um, who's here, by the way, and I I I didn't have a problem with being a woman. It's just that I knew that something was different. What that was, I did not know. I was more comfortable when I performed in the clubs and the bars as Jevon, and I found people, referring to me as Jevon and he, and using male pronouns with me 24/7. So it was comfortable for me. So I just embraced it and stayed, Jevon. It was better for me. It was safety for me to be the guy that I was rather than not.
So you made the decision within yourself, and what was your next step? Because I know what the steps are now, but the steps back then wasn't the same.
Right. So back then, 2 years prior to taking any type of medical um, enhancements, testosterone, surgeries. So back then it was very difficult. Right now, you have to be in therapy with mental health therapists, but not as long, not the 2 years, but you just have to show them that you are living the life that you want to live in. Once the therapist feels comfortable with your life, where you're not a threat to yourself or anyone else, then if this is the route you want to go and you can medically transition, you do not have to take hormones, you do not have to have any type of surgeries. You are who you say you are, however you show up. So if you come tomorrow to the therapist and say, "Hey, I have lived long enough in this body as a female and I am not comfortable. And I feel like my life is in danger and I would be better if I was male." You have to show up as male. You have to continue to go to your therapy sessions as male and show that this is real. This is who you want to be. With that, they will give you more information, or you give them information on who you are, who you want to be. And you go from there. You can get your letter, change your documentation. You need a letter stating who you are, how long you've been in transition, and you can change your ID. We have ID NYC here in New York for those that live here in New York. You can change your driver's license, non-driver's ID, also your social security with your number. It'll be linked or not, depending on how you want to do it. whether you also have felony cases or misdemeanors, court hearings, or however. It depends on your life, and it's based on you, right? So I changed everything. But Davon, you ask specific questions so that
No.
way to answer them.
Okay. So, so we got into changing the markers. You changed the identity. The next step is top surgery normally,
Well,
or
it
taking
depends on the
T.
person. It depends on the
Depends
person.
on the person. Okay.
Not everyone opts for top or bottom surgery or any surgery or hormones, right? It's your preference whether or not you want to take hormones, whether or not you want to have a hysterectomy, whether or not you want to have bottom surgery, top surgery. That is your preference as an individual. I know several trans men that have not had any surgeries, any testosterone, nothing. And they are who they say they are. So I'm gonna go on a little let me see how I say this. So some women have a high level of testosterone
Yes.
already in their system. And they have hair, right? And mustache. I know several women that have mustache.
I know several women.
Right? So let's just say they shaved their mustache. Let's just say that they shaved this area. Do know that it will grow back thicker. They said it's a myth. It's not a myth. I have the I have never shaved my top lip, and this is what I have. Next to nothing. Once I started shaving my top lip, it started to grow in, right? But I don't shave it that often. All of this other stuff I've been shaving for years, and it grows in, right? So that myth, I debunked it. You shave, it grows back. So my daughter, and I can tell her story. I've told it before, plus she's told it. Our family, the women in our family have hair, right? Patches of hair underneath here, and we've always had hair. So for me, I've had a lot of testosterone in my system already. So when I did take my first T shot, it made my voice deepen, and I got more hair all over. And Davone has followed my journey, so she can also attest to that. But I also did lose some hair, right?
Right, because they say that tea makes you lose some hair up in the top. Is that true?
Well, it that also depends on your family, your genes, right? Some guys have a head full of hair at 50. My father's hair started receding, and then he had that George Jefferson circle, right?
Ah.
I'm praying I don't get that George Jefferson circle. I'm praying I get, follow my brothers on my mom's side because they all have a head full of hair. So I'm praying on that, but it's a little corner going on there. But I have a mole there, so I think that has something to do with it.
So let me ask you a question, because I was told that when you take tea, your hair makeup comes from the next male person in your life. So if your father has a full beard, you tend to grow a full beard as well.
That's not necessarily true.
Okay.
Right? So sometimes it skips a generation. Sometimes it all depends on your genes. Like you have to look at your grandfather, great grandfather on both sides, right? And I've looked at everyone on my mom's side, and my brothers and I, we pretty much have the same going on here. Same hair texture. I do not have the same hair texture as my dad. Never knew anyone from my dad's family, so too much like biological side. But
Oh,
I yeah.
all right. So we talked about taking tea. We talked about going to the therapist. We talked about changing your gender marker on your documentations, hysterectomies, and top surgery.
Okay, hysterectomy and top surgery. Well, I had my hysterectomy in, I want to say, '04, I believe. I had my top surgery in '06, I believe, '06, '07. And back then, it was different, right? You had to have two notes, two doctors' notes. You had to have one from your primary care doctor, and you had to have one from the mental health therapist. But also back then, it was really, really hard. There weren't too many surgeons doing top surgery, and I had to pay for mine, $11,000. Now,
Wow.
yeah, now Medicaid pays for it. And when I had my top surgery, after I was done, the surgeon, she retired. That was it. She was like, I was enough for her.
I know there's a doctor, I think in Fort Lauderdale, that's supposed to be a really good doctor that a lot of people go to.
Oh, we have doctors, surgeons are all over now. So when it comes to top surgery, uh, the doctors are almost in every state. Yeah, and when bottom surgery, my option for bottom surgery came around in 2016. I
Wait, let's not get into that yet, because that's intense. Let's not get into that yet. So explain what top surgery is, because it's not breast reduction.
Okay, so it's different for each person, right? Some can just get a breast reduction. Some get a double mastectomy. Some get the T incision, right? It's different, depends on your chest size, right? And it's not okay for a cis person to ask a trans person about their surgery, right? I mean, each person is different, but it's triggering, and allow them to talk about it. So for me, it's easy. You can talk to me. Anybody knows me, they know this is what I do. This is educational, and I'm here to educate, inspire, and empower. So this is what we do. Um, the the surgery that I had was a double mastectomy, right? And it just went straight across, and they realigned my nipples, but then my nipples, my areolas were still too big, and they're still too big. I was just happy that they're off for me. I was a 36C at the time, so they just cut it, took out the fat, the fatty tissue, the muscle, all that was underneath the breast tissue is what they took out. There's another procedure for the areola, periareola, where they can just take an incision of your areola and suck out the breast through the areola and sew it back up. That is a great procedure because you don't have the line going across your chest, right?
You have to have a certain size breast to get that procedure. It has
Correct.
to be small.
A cup, yes.
Okay.
Cup, very small, yes. Um, I was large. I wasn't huge, but I'm pretty much 36C, average 36C, yeah. But for those that have larger, if you think about it, the larger um, sagging, hanging chest, that's a lot of skin, right? So when they do cut it and how they cut it, and then they have to take the areola and put it back. So it's more work, but they have to do a different incision because it's a lot of skin, right? They do ask you to lose weight. They do want your BMI to be, correct because your health concerns with having any surgery, is very important. So they want your BMI to be at the right level for your age, your height, your weight. I just tell anyone who wants to have this surgery, and there's a lot of people having this surgery that are not trans, right? You don't have to be trans to have top there are a lot of women that have top surgery because they're chest heavy, right? And that's the reduction. There's also cisgender men that have this surgery, and it's called gynecomastia, right? Because their chest is very large and fatty, and it grows, right? So
Male boobs.
man boobs, right? Man
Yes.
boobs, right? So this surgery has been around for many years, right? So just safely, get it done for yourself, not for no one else, but for you.
So let's get into the bottom surgery
Okay.
because I watched. Now, my ex Cyrus also had the bottom surgery. He went to California to get it done, correct?
Yes, he did, and
And that was one of the top doctors or first doctors.
yes, yes, excellent, excellent job. Um, yeah, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but um, excellent, excellent procedure. I was there to help him. I followed through. I was actually there to help him from the beginning of his transition. From day one, introduced him to the medical clinic to start his procedure and his journey. So I also used to give him his shots too as well.
Really? So I watched you. You was very transparent on Facebook. I prayed for you when times that you had complications and you went back to the hospital numerous times. So let's discuss the whole surgery because a lot of people are curious about that. Most trans men don't get bottom surgery.
Um,
Very few,
not all, not all,
not all.
because
But
the
would you say a lot of them don't?
so I want to say those that I know because I don't know
Okay,
what change, right? But the ones
right,
that I do know have opted not to have, right? And that's okay too. So
right.
you have to keep in mind you are not your genitalia,
You're not.
okay? And what you have between your legs does not define who you are.
It does not define your gender at all.
Right. So those guys that choose to opt for bottom surgery, we have groups. We have Facebook groups for that. We started out with Yahoo groups, and we have been following and tracking surgeons, trans guys, procedures, different techniques, and yeah, I started in 2016, and back then my insurance paid for the initial procedure. But after the initial procedure, they were like, no, we're not paying for this because they changed they changed from Blue Cross to Blue Shield, and then I had Aetna. Aetna was like, no, we're not paying for this. I don't know
And it sucks.
what you thought was gonna happen, but we're not paying for this. So I had to jump through hoops up and down, in and out to find a way for them to continue this surgery. So they said, we will pay for complications to the surgery, but we will not pay for the actual surgery. So I was supposed to have 3 procedures, and it ended up being 9. I've been in the hospital 9 times, and I'm still not right, and still waiting. And each time something major happened. I just so happen to be susceptible to getting urinary tract infection. Never knew that until I had bottom surgery. Every time I had a procedure, never fails, urinary tract infection. Um, I at the second stage, my leg opened
Well,
up.
let's start to the first stage.
Okay.
Let's start because you're skipping all over the place. First stage, first operation. What does it consist of?
Well, it's different for everyone because
Okay.
not
Let's talk about your experience.
right. Not everyone opts for the same procedure that I had, right? So I had first time I had uh vaginectomy, right? Which was the closure of vagina, right? Also had the proto testicular plasty, right?
Okay.
Where they made the testicles, right? They took the fat.
Now, when they closed the vagina, what happened? How did you urinate?
Uh,
You still urinated the same way?
I had the bag. I had the
The
catheter.
catheter? Okay. All right. So that's your first procedure. How long do you have to heal from that?
Oh wow, that was a couple of months. I was supposed to heal at least 2 to 3 months before my next, right, and it didn't last that long because my stitches were popping open. Um, I got infections. Um, I had to lay there with my legs open, have proper care. People saying that they were coming over to help didn't come to help. There were days that I was home alone until my wife came home. She would leave at 3:30 in the morning. She wouldn't get back home until 6 o'clock at night. I didn't eat till she, right? It was a lot. It was a lot. I basically learned, who's in my corner, who's not in my corner, who's there for a reason, a season, and you know how they say that. And yeah, it was really really stressful. I had to do it again.
So
I
you
wish
had all
I
those
had it hard.
what you say?
I said if I had to do it again, I'd think about it hard.
You think about it, you wouldn't do it again?
I said I would think about it. Like
You would think about it.
there's different procedures now, right? And when I started, there weren't the options that they have now.
So you healed and you went to step 2. What was the second procedure?
So the second procedure for me was supposed to be the grafting of the shaft, the penis, but we couldn't because. So the second procedure for me was realigning the area where I had to urinate. So the urethra, we had to keep constructing the urethra. So they had to harvest the urethra in my leg. So they took the lining from the inside and they harvested on my leg. And they left it open. So I had like this incision in my leg on the top part of my thigh that was this long. And it was like a square. So it was like this all the way down here, and they packed it. They packed it with yellow gauze, and they allowed it to heal. And then once it healed, that's what they were going to use as my urethra. So when now we're on stage 3, right after it healed, they took it and they cut from my thigh. I chose my thigh rather than my arm. I could have chosen my arm or I could have chosen this under here of my back. But I chose my thigh. Um, when they cut it, my thighs were so thick and meaty that it was literally this thick.
So you're telling everybody now that when they harvest the skin from your thigh, the shaft was the size of like a soda can.
Correct. A can of soda. So
Okay.
so let's say this is my thigh, right? The incision was here, going here, and they packed it with gauze, right? So I had kind of like a hole. So I had like a hole in here. They packed it and they packed it, right? And then when they cut from underneath and they cut from around here. And then when they took the top part off, they took this off and then they rolled it, right? And when they rolled it, that's the part that they had the packed was supposed to be the area that I'm supposed to urinate from. But it didn't happen that way because it didn't heal properly. And so then they had to graft more skin. So they took skin from the inside of my thigh and they put it on the bottom of the shaft. So it was still that hole, but now they got another piece of skin and it was on the bottom of the shaft. And it stayed on my leg. And then after a while, I want to say another 2 to 3 months. My surgeries were every 3 months, every 3 to 4 months. I was having surgery after surgery. So I was having at least 4 surgeries a year, 3 or 4 surgeries a year, and each surgery was close to $400,000.
Mm.
So we are way beyond $1 million, right? We are close to $4 million on this.
Mm.
Yeah, hospital stay, procedure, everything. Because
Complications.
Yep, 9 surgeries, and then there's the clinical visits in between, right? Removing staples, removing sutures, removing all types of stuff, right? Removing the catheter, putting the catheter back, flushing it. So there was so many things happening. The testicles had to put more fat because the fat disintegrated. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And then my leg opened up, like literally just tore open.
Mm.
Yeah. So there was a lot of complications because they would pay for complications, but they wouldn't pay for step 1, 2, 3. Most guys that have bottom surgery, 3 stages, 2 stages, done, depending on what they wanted. So there's several different. There's phalloplasty, metatardioplasty, different procedures.
Let's break those down in layman terms, because basically, what are you saying? Because some of them are just stay semi-hard. Some you can make hard. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So let's back up, right? So
Back up.
metatardioplasty, right? And you can Google it. Tap it on your phone. Metatardioplasty, right? Take your clitoris, extend it if that's what you want, and invert the urethra, urinate through the clitoris, right? That's metatardioplasty, right? Phalloplasty is when you harvest from somewhere else on your body to actually make and graft, which is your thigh, your arm, your back. Now they have penile implants, right? So what I mean by that is they have actually taken it off of a cis guy, donated it when they died or however.
Wow.
You can actually attach it to another human, right? So they're donating.
Wow.
John Hopkins in Maryland did this first a couple of years ago. The person is still alive, and yeah, so it's happening, right? There's so many different procedures, but if I had it to do it over again, I would have had metatardioplasty first because everything would have been in position and in place. So then when I would have gotten the fallow, it would have went over the metatardioplasty and wouldn't have had to worry about the urethra aligning anything and prepping anything.
Pizza came.
I know,
It is here.
it would have been already in place, right? So all the complications I would hope would have been none.
you have, so I've had numerous breast surgeries, being a breast cancer survivor.
Right.
So one of the surgeries was breast reduction, and a doctor did not give me an option of what my breast would be. He just reduced it to the size that would be best for my stature. Do you have an option of picking what size you want?
So mostly when you have a double mastectomy, that means
No, I'm sorry. I'm going back to the bottom surgery.
bottom.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, you do. You have this option. And I'm here to tell you that bigger is not better, right? Because how are you going to conceal it? How are you going to walk? It's very heavy, it's extra weight, it's in the way, okay? So for all the well endowed cis guys, keep in mind it's small and then it grows bigger. For us, it is the same size it is. There is no smaller, bigger. You can opt for devices to make it flaccid and hard. But for me, because my thigh was already meaty, it's semi already. So that's why I'm wearing extra big pants. That's why I'm having issues walking because it's hard in the way. Okay. So when people see me out and they see me dancing and walking around, oh, Jevon, you okay? You look like you're in pain. It's in the way.
So big is not always better.
No, it's
No.
not. Not at all.
All right. That's good to know. Now, we have some questions. Well, is there any questions that you have for me or something that you want to address that we didn't address before I go into the questions that the group had?
No, I'm open to answer all questions. I don't have any questions for you, Davone. You have followed my journey, been supportive, been here more than anyone I know. You have watched my journey, been a part of it, accepted me, even when you had the dollhouse, and I was like, look, I know I'm not, female, and but I want to go.
Say you still family.
Right? I want to go to the dollhouse, right? We were in Fire Island. We would go to Fire Island. You was like, Jevon, let me call them and make sure that they okay. But I'm okay and I'm not going. But you're gonna be up there with them. You call Steph and G and like Javon's on the way. They were like, sure. I ended up going out there cooking. I was the chef. Everybody was like, yeah, Jevon, you fine. We had a great time.
I always accepted you, and you know that I have best friends that are trans, close friends that are trans. You're somebody that I consider a very close friend. It's nothing. I just want to see everybody happy. So if this is where you are, this is your true self, live yourself authentic.
Ashe, Ashe, we have been family for so long, and I thank you for that. Like we've been there, right? And these conversations is needed, and I appreciate you
They
for
are.
having these conversations and making space to have these conversations. And you did it previously, and we've saved lives by having these conversations, and this is what it's all about.
You know, we just want the community to be respectful and mindful for every letter in our community. We're very diverse. And when it comes down to genders, we just need everybody to be sensitive to a person's pronoun. And if you don't know a person's pronoun, just call them by their name. That
Yes,
is the safest thing to do.
correct.
All right, so let's get into questions because we had some really great questions from the group. Oh, my questions here. And it was one last question that came in that I loved. It was it.
But I want to tell you before you start. You see, I told you to go up. Now look,
Oh no, she's been calm, right?
She sees talking.
Bella is so spoiled. She's 13 years old, and she's my spoiled baby.
Yeah.
She's okay with hearing your voice as long as she's on my lap.
And she can see me now.
I don't think she's looking at you.
Oh.
She's cuddled in here. She's trying to take a nap. Her mommy's petting her. She ain't worried about you. She ain't worried about you. All right. So one of the questions was, what is one of the biggest misconceptions about the trans community?
One of the biggest misconceptions about the trans community is that we are sexual predators, and we are not. So there's a big mess about the bathroom bill, right? And that, oh, they don't want to have trans people in their bathrooms and this, that, and the third. Use the bathroom that you were born with, your genitals, blah, 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 blah. So in other words, you're telling me that you want me to go to the women's room. I ain't got no problem with it, but I'm sure.
But they gonna run out when they see you walk in.
I'm so sure that a lot of these guys, cis men, and their wives are gonna have problems with me going into the ladies' room, right? So, problem number one, solved. Transgender people go to the restroom to, wait for it, use the toilet and check themselves in the mirror.
That's what we all should go to the bathroom for, not to be sexual predators. And what we were discussing earlier was, if you travel the world internationally, it's only the United States that has bathrooms, and some Latin countries that have bathrooms that says female and male. Look, you're not even sharing your pizza, Jevon. Gender neutral bathrooms are like this thing in America, but you can go somewhere else outside of America and the bathroom just says bathroom. And you wait for the person to come out and you go in.
Correct. And that's what I've been talking about for many years, because I had the opportunity to go out of the country. And when I came back, I was like, wait, why is this ban for the bathroom for trans people when in other countries they don't have it like this? Right. So even we talked about this, Davone, that when we went to the clubs back in the day, the bathrooms
was gender neutral.
Yeah, men and women went to the bathrooms together and washed our hands together, and we were out. Like the tunnel, limelight.
The tunnel.
You know, we all just used the bathroom. You know, there was no male and female bathroom. It's restroom, right? And I feel as though people put too much emphasis on worrying about what someone is doing in the bathroom, right? And furthermore, this is how I feel. This is coming from me. Who in their right mind is sending a child to the bathroom
alone
by themselves?
Right.
Right? And if anyone is dressing up in female clothing, going to the bathroom to rape someone, they're sick, right? Mentally unstable. They are not trans people, and we are not going to get this miscommunication about cross-dressers are not trans people. Cross-dressers are cross-dressers. Drag queens are men that perform entertainment as women.
And they can be straight. Right. And those people can be straight.
Correct. So I know plenty of
I do too.
that are married, right, to cis women. They do it. It's a form of art, and they love it, and they have a great time. I also know gay men that do drag, right? I know cis women that do drag that are not lesbians. So we need to get that out there, known, and just get rid of it, right? Cross dressers, and drag queens are not transgender. Throw it away. End it.
All right, Joe, throw it away. Jevon, finish this sentence. I wish people would just stop.
Misgendering us, discriminating against us, killing us.
You said a whole mouthful with that one. Did your family and friends accept your transition?
Did my family and friends accept my transition? That's a whole word. So they accept me as Jevon. Some of them don't agree with who I've become as not who they knew. So let me not confuse you. Some of them are not in agreement of me becoming who I am, but they love me for me, Jevon. They respect me as Jevon, but don't see me as the man that I am today. My oldest brother is in securities business. He used to work in the Pentagon. He's ex-military police, Colonel Powell's best friend. He does not get it. He does not want to get it. And he continuously to she, me. But at times he just says Jevon, right? And uses no pronouns. And he's like, yeah, you're not gonna get me to say, do, or whatever. I used to change your diapers. And I'm like, what does that have to do with me being a grown ass man in front of you? I ain't in diapers yet. Maybe when I'm 75, you might want to change another diaper, but that has nothing to do. My genitalia has nothing to do with who I am. And furthermore, we have the same genitalia now. So what what's the problem? So we're kind of distant, but we're still family. Yeah.
All right. Some trans men date men. What are your thoughts? I already know what your thoughts
Hey, they like it. I love it.
are. Right.
I used to date guys. That's how my daughter got here, right? Um, I have dated trans men, trans women. I said this earlier, right? Cis women,
You did.
cis men. Yeah, like I always say, you treat me how I want to be treated. You love me the way you want to be loved, and we good. I don't care if you're green, purple, red, black, blue, brown, yellow, orange.
What medical treatments do some trans men seek when transitioning?
Okay, we went through that.
We went through that, right? So we discussed that in full.
Bottom surgery, top surgery, or not.
Hysterectomy,
Or not, right? You do
KT or not. We discussed that.
right.
Is the goal of the trans community to be fully accepted into the gender they transition into? Question number one. The next question, to be defined as women/men and not trans men and trans women.
Got it. I so got that. Thank you for that. So it depends on the individual, right? Because um, people transition to be either the next gender, no gender. So it's up to those that want to identify as trans once they've started or not. So for me, I transitioned into Jevon, right? I only told certain people that I transitioned, right? Because it's nobody's business, right? But if you've known me prior, you've been following, wow, that used to be wow, right? But for those that are just meeting me, I don't have to tell you who I used to be, you know, because a lot of people when I go to the lesbian clubs, they're like, why is this guy here? You know, I don't have to disclose. Even to the new clubs that are out when I go for pride and birthday parties and stuff, Missy B's parties, right? Her security team, they know me. They've known me for years. But if there's a new guy and he's like, you got to come in with a woman, and I'm like, no, I don't. And, oh, well, you're not getting up in here, right? And I'm like, but you don't know me. I don't care. I was told no men allowed if they're not coming with a woman. And I'm like, but you didn't ask me. You don't know me. I don't even have to pay to get in here. Like, well, you're going to have to wait. So then I text Missy. Missy comes out. She's like, Jay, what's happening? And I'm like, talk to this guy, right? So I transitioned to be Jevon, to be comfortable in my own skin, to be who I am. I did not transition to be a trans man. I am here to educate, empower, and inspire the community to be whoever they want to be and be the best person they can be, to pay it forward and to live in their truth, whatever that is, safely, right? So I am out as a Black trans man for educational purposes, for just visibility on the fact that we are here, because the erasure of trans men is real, right? Because the first thing people think of when you say transgender is a trans woman. They don't even think about trans guys. Like their mentality is, oh, trans women. Like the whole article, the post with Halle Berry. First thing people were thinking was that Halle Berry was playing a trans woman. She's supposed to play a trans guy.
Trans man.
Right. So with that part, you have to unlearn what you know, right? And we have to unpack that. Why is it that we always think that when they say transgender, it's trans woman, right? When you hear the word transgender, it might be a trans man, non-binary, gender non-conforming, because we're under that umbrella. So I'm definitely charging you all to open up your minds and just be more mindful and open to the fact that when they say transgender, they could be talking about a trans guy. Open up your mind.
I have a question for you. And it's a personal question because you can't answer this for the transgender community. This is a personal question for you. When do you feel comfortable to disclose? Or when did you have to disclose to your wife?
Okay, so we met. Okay, so my wife and I met physically, and she didn't remember that she met me physically at a ball in Philly. She's originally from Philly, and we were Facebook friends, and we had hundreds and hundreds of friends in common. So I saw that she had said she wanted to come to New York for her birthday, and I was like, "Hey, you coming? I'm gonna show y'all around. You and your girls. We're gonna have a good time." I'm, tour guide. I used to work for the MTA. And so she hit me up and she was like, "Yeah, I'm not coming because my friends backed out." And I was like, "Why are you not coming? Like, come on through. Like, let's have a good time." So she was like, "Listen, I'm not taking that drive. It's a long drive." I was like, "All right, I'm gonna come down to Philly. I'm gonna get on the train, and I'm gonna drive back with you." Right. The day came. I got on the train. I got off the train, and I was like, "Hey, I'm here." And she was like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I'm at 30th Street Station." Wait, so she didn't think I was coming. And she had to grab her bag and she came, and uh she she came over to the city, and I gave her my room, and she was fine. I went to work and took her to the club. She got to meet people and stuff. But so right before that happened, I had to back up. I want to say the week prior to that, she inboxed me and she was like, "Hey, are you a trans man?" I was like, "Yes, I thought you knew." And all I saw was, "Oh my God." Like, he laid on the O's, the M's, and the G's going in my inbox. And
Christine is a mess.
yeah, I was laughing so hard because all this time we were talking, and I thought she knew, right? But she had no idea, especially being in the ballroom scene. I thought she knew. She never knew. It was hilarious, but she came. She got to meet everybody. She got to meet Patrice and a couple of my other kids and Missy and everybody. I showed her a great time. Took her to Escuelita, and then she went back home. She came back a week and a half later for my birthday. We're both Gemini. She's a May Gemini and I'm a June Gemini. So the four of us kind of get along, but we don't, right? and
Yeah, because y'all got a lot of people inside of y'all.
yeah, but she found out, I guess on social media, like she wasn't sure, so she asked me. Now, as far as disclosing, most of the people that I've dated already knew from the community, from the ballroom scene, from seeing me at events and on panel discussions, in books. I've been in two books, Christopher Street Stories, and also Trans New York now is a new book that's out. So bless you.
Thank you.
And I'm like I said before, I'm here to educate and empower and inspire the community. Bless you, Davone. And I just feel as though anyone that is transgender should disclose when it's safe and they are comfortable to do so, right? And I'm going to repeat that. A trans person should disclose when they are safe and comfortable to disclose. It's not about you, it's about our safety. And no one is tricking anyone. Trust and believe. Majority of trans people are not in this to be playing any games. We are in this for survival, to live our lives so that me, don't end up dead, right? Because I know I've tried many times, uncomfortable with the way my life was going. And I'm here for a reason, right? There's a higher power. There's something that I need to complete, to do, and that is to help, right? I'm a natural born helper. So I'm here to just let you all know that it's not your say. So don't think people are being conniving and sneaky and trying to, you know, get their hooks in you. I've heard all this stuff, right? Safety first, comfortability, and safety. I'm not gonna tell you that I'm trans in front of you and your boys because I don't know your boys.
Right.
I don't know what their views are on the LGBTQ community, right? I'm not trying to fight these people, right? Because
Or get killed.
that, that's what it boils down to. You know, it's I'm uneducated on this, so now I'm gonna become violent because it's not my norm. It's not what I know. So
It's foreign to me.
you're different. It's disgusting. I don't want no parts of it. I'm gonna kill you. Right? So majority of trans women, and I don't like to speak for them, but because I've been with them, heard their stories, and I've just seen it today. One of my trans sisters posted this, her inbox from her app that she's in. These guys are saying, "Hey, I've never dated a trans woman. I would like to try it. Does it make me gay?" What? You're not gay if you date a trans person. You're not.
Woman.
You're gay if you want to be gay, right? That's how you identify, right?
Right.
But just because you date a trans person does not make you gay, right?
Do you consider that relationship to be titled queer?
It's up to how that person identifies, right? They might not. My wife is heterosexual. This year, I don't know. That's her identity. She dated women before, but right now she's heterosexual. That's what she says. I'm pansexual, right? So I can't tell her how to identify. I can't tell her she's queer. It's up to her to say that she's queer. She'll tell you any day, heterosexual, right? But yet her girlfriend is Janet Jackson, and you can't tell her no different. But
Christina loves Janet Jackson.
I know, and I had got us tickets to go, but
And it got canceled.
Miss Rona came and said, not today.
Aw, such a good husband.
And she's never been to a concert like that. So, but we got our T-shirts though. But getting back on the topic, it's about our safety, right? And it's about us not ending up dead. It's about us being able to live another day to be productive in the community, right? So that.
Shay had a question. Let me see if I can go into it and get that. I thought it printed out. Apparently it did. The question is, oh, this is a very good question. After bottom surgery, will you be able to have sexual gratification? Also, is it offensive if the person you are dating calls themselves a lesbian? So we addressed that just now with you identify with what you identify with. I know people who are married. When they became married, they was both lesbians, one being aggressive lesbian. Well, aggressive lesbian is what we call studs or butch lesbians in New York. And that person decided to transition. And now trans is considered transgender. But his wife is still considered she identifies as a lesbian.
And that's fine.
And that's fine.
Identity, right?
Identity is something totally different.
That is fine for her to identify as whoever she feels. And that's between the two of them. Right? So when they go out, safely, as long as she doesn't misgender him or put him at arm's wrist, it's fine, right? She can identify as whatever as long as she says this is my husband, and as long as he agrees to it. So I know a couple where the one of the couple identifies as both, right? Physically looking at them, they look male identified, but they respond to both, right? So they will, their significant other, wife, will refer to them as wife and husband. So that's how they.
Their title, they identify as transgender or non. What is it?
But both of them are under the transgender spectrum. They are following non-binary.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense. What was the other part of the question? Because we answered that one. It was the first part. Oh, she asks about gratification after bottom surgery. And also I want you to address sensation.
So it's different for every person depending on what you opted for, right? So for me, I had the nerve inverted from my thigh into the fallow, the penis. And for me, it feels like someone is rubbing my thigh back and forth.
So, when you rub your penis,
right,
you feel a sensation on your thigh.
Correct. Yes. So for me, the sensation is not as it was prior, and I basically want to work on that. I was told for the past 3 years. I was told for the past 3 years that the nerve would eventually relate to the touch on the shaft, and I would feel it, and I wouldn't feel it in my leg. That's not. So I've been asking them if they can reverse the nerve and put it back because all I feel is my leg, and it's not a good feeling, right? As far as pleasure, no, I don't feel that. It's mentally, and I work through it.
All right, everybody. Do we have any more questions? Because I addressed, I believe, all of the questions that the group had up here. Oh, Missy's in the building. We talked about Missy.
But check the comments.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments. There's no questions in the comments. They're just, unless I don't see them, I'm trying to scroll up. Everybody is just loving the conversation and making comments about what we said, but there wasn't any particular questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments now under the live. Hey, Missy. So we can answer them before we let Jevon go finish his pizza and enjoy his family.
My piece is sitting right there.
And Missy said, hi, Jevon. It's one of our favorite DJs.
We spoke about you, Missy.
Yes, we did. She came on, Missy B. And they talking about, oh, they miss Espolitas. We all do. I miss nannies. Oh my God. We were just talking about how we missed Chi-Chi's.
Cheese and two potatoes.
And two potato. Those were the days, honey. Listen, when my brother was gay, he was alive, he snuck me into better days, honey. Okay? So I've been around. Oh, so yes, Teresa. Thank you for reminding me, Teresa. Oh wait, we have a question. Right. Should someone that wants to date a trans man go to therapy with them or suggest it for being understanding? I think that's a preference.
Yes, so that is your personal preference, and the therapist will opt for the trans person to have their own therapy. So if you want to take therapy as well, like a couples therapy, then that is on you. So I'm going to share with you what I have told several other people that are in transition and also in a relationship. When you're going through your transition, this is your journey, right? It's not about your partner. So your partner does not get to say what they want for your body. They don't own your body, right? You have to live with your body for the rest of your life, not your partner, right? So I tell them you're in transition. You don't know who you are going to be. So don't fault your partner for not ending up liking who you end up being. Rephrase that. Take it back. You do not know who you will become once you start your transition. You don't know. There's no way you can say, oh, yeah, I know where I'm going. It's my journey. You don't know. You don't know. Right. And it's not fair for you to put your partner through your journey. And what I mean by that is you're going to go through a lot of different emotions, mentally, physically. It's your journey, right? So they might not be there with you. Don't get mad at them because they're not, saying your name fast enough, your pronouns fast enough, or your family's not doing what you want them to do. You need to understand as a trans person that you have been in your body, unliking who you are for so many years, however many years that is, Maybe it'd be a long time, a short time, but these people that have been around you have been saying your name, your gender for the same amount of time, right? You have to give them time to adjust. What I mean by that is work with them. Don't, oh, I'm out of here. You can't get this right. Blah, blah, blah. No. And I'm not saying it should take a year, but people, if you're around the same person every day and then they start to transition, the people that you're around every day, they don't see your transition because they're around you every day. So, especially if you're in a relationship. So, I ended up having to leave the relationship that I was in when I started my journey because the woman I was with, she didn't want to be with a man at the time. Now she's living happily with a man, right? So um, that's a whole nother story, right? But at the time, she didn't want to be with him, right? She was a lesbian, steadfast, don't want to be with a dude. If I wanted to be with a dude, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, right? I had to go on my journey because it was about me. And we are still the best of friends to this day, but it's about you. And you have to do this safely for yourself. And don't be upset when your partner doesn't, follow through. They're not still attracted to you because your body changes. That was one of the things that my ex had a problem with. She was like, "Oh, you smell different. Like strong, strong smell. Like it's different, right? Oh, you sound different. Stop being so rough." Like I didn't even know that I was, being so aggressive and rough with my touch, right? And I had to take it back. Even my friends, they would be like, "Yo, Jevon, like, you know how when you get somebody a dap or something, it's like, not that serious." Like, I was like, well, I didn't know I was, dapping you that hard, you know, and you have to figure out the type of person you're gonna be, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? So just be mindful of your journey and the path that you take. I've watched numerous people break up, argue, fuss, fight, and just just know that treat people how you want to be treated along your journey, right?
I got a question for you
Yeah.
that I just thought about. How do you feel about trans men and trans women in sports? Now, so let's say a trans woman in the WNBA or a trans man playing in the NFL. How do you feel about that?
Right.
Or even boxing, as we saw maybe a couple months ago when she was in the fight.
Yes. So and we also have another question.
Another question? Okay.
Yeah. All right. So sports.
Couple of them.
Sports related. So I just want to say this, that let's say these trans people didn't disclose who they were, right? And they were passable and they played these sports. Is it okay then? And I say this because there have been trans people playing sports for years. Nobody's known. They just did not disclose. It just so happens that the younger kids are coming forth, transitioning early on, right? Like Jazz Jennings. Let's talk about Jazz. Right?
Okay, Jazz.
She started out young. She was a kid,
beautiful,
right? So if she wanted to play sports, if she wanted to play women's track, women's basketball, or softball or whatever, is it okay? She started young.
She did.
Right?
I mean, my concern is, are they stronger because they're taking a hormone?
No, they're not, because
and it was the risk, safety wise.
Estrogen is blocking testosterone. But for trans women, it's not. Right?
But what about for trans men taking T?
Okay, so for trans men taking T, it's not depending on what they're doing, right? So I've watched cis women bodybuild, right? So what? Like I've watched trans women bodybuild. I've watched cis women box against trans women, and they whoop their behind. So I'm here to tell you, like, it depends on the person you're training, and it depends on how well you train. You know, it's running track. So they're saying that a trans woman
Right.
runs faster than a cis woman, but she's been on estrogen.
Right. Something that we produce naturally.
It doesn't have to do with that. It has to do with how you train. There's no, oh, she's really a guy and that's why she runs faster. No. But then again, let's talk about she's black. Black people run faster. Are we going to say that? Are we going to say that? I just said that, but are we going to say that?
No, we're not.
Okay? Just like all black people play basketball better. Are we saying that? We're not going to say that. Right? Only white people drive cars in the Indianapolis 500. Are we going to say that?
No.
We're not going to say that. Right? So these are things that if you train, you can do well. There is a trans guy that's a boxer. And he's doing great. He's short in his weight class. He's winning for his weight class. So you're telling me that a cis guy in the same weight class as him can't beat him? He can. It depends on how you train.
Okay. I wanted to know your views on it. Your daughter just stepped in the building, Patrice. Somebody wants to know, Kat wants to know, does tea have any side effects?
Yes. As with all medications, they have side effects, right? And you lose eyesight, liver, kidneys. They tell you don't drink alcohol, don't smoke, receding, hairline. Yes. So there are side effects to all medications. But again, it depends on how you're taking it. Some people abuse medication, right? So some people take other people's medication, right? When I first started out, there was several guys coming to me, yo, can I buy a shot off you? How do you know you take the same dosage I take?
Right.
How do you know that this is what you need? Like you might not need the same amount I got. So testosterone comes in 100 milligram, 200 milligrams, right? And they also come in pills and they come in gel, right? I started out years ago with gel, and it just so happens that some of the people that are HIV positive, they take some of the guys, they take the testosterone gel, right, to keep up their, their levels, right? And so that's how I started with the gel, and then I went to the pills, then I went to the shots, right? And I started on 100 milligrams, and I was taking 1 cc every 2 weeks. Did nothing for me, nothing at all. Did it for 3 months straight, nothing. Told the doctor, hey, there's no change. Let's up the dosage. 200 milligrams, 1 cc every other week, through the roof. Voice changed, hair started coming all over, stomach, eyes, butt, everywhere. I was like, no, I don't want no parts of this, right? So I stopped taking tea, right? And when I stopped taking tea, monthly came back, right? And I was like, yeah, I don't like this. Taking tea again. But I started taking a half cc every other week because when I first got on it, sex drive through the roof, through the roof, all day, every day. Crazy, right? Whoa, like
I hear that.
yeah, and it was bad. It was bad. Any of you that I met way back in the day when I first started, I am so sorry. I apologize. I was not myself. I apologize. And I humbly, wholeheartedly, I mean that with everything.
Does it naturally taper off after a while?
You when you are experiencing something new for the first time and you have no idea how it's going to take effect on you, I had no idea. I was everywhere. Hit, keep it going. Hit, keep it going. And it was messing with me, right? Mentally, physically. I lost a lot of weight. I got very slim, chiseled, and it was a lot. It was a lot. And I know, and I know now what a lot of people say. And I can now apologize because I have come full circle into the man that I am. Right? I am fully aware of myself and everything that I've done. Right? And I am so thankful now that I am a mentor to those coming up to let them know, hey, this is going to happen. And this is what I need you to do. Do not go this route because uh, the STDs that are out here, crazy, right? Um, don't dibble and dabble with, substance usage and testosterone. Not good, right? I didn't have nobody to tell me this back in the day. I was drinking, I was smoking, testosterone. It was a lot, right? I had nobody to tell me, don't do this, don't mix that. And now I'm the one to tell people, hey, slow down, be mindful, it's happening. And it's for them to listen or not, right? But when you first get that in your system, ooh, it's like wow, puberty. Like
Wow.
yeah.
All right, we have a question. Well, I see more as a long question, Monique. When meeting a trans sorry, I'm losing my voice. How do you approach them without them feeling like you have a fetish or without them feeling like you think they are a lesbian? Are there any specific dating groups? I noticed that they don't specify on sites where they just ask if you want male or female, possibly because there is no option.
Okay, so there is, right? I got the question, Davone.
Okay.
So here on Facebook, right? When you go in the top of the search on Facebook, you can put in there
I saw that.
you can put trans men and the women who love them, right?
You
There's
have a lot of groups.
that's one group. But trans men and the women who love them. You can go in that group. There's several trans men in there. You can go into single trans man group. You can go into just put trans man or trans men, and all of these groups will pop up. Look in groups, and all of these groups will pop up. Go in the group, introduce yourself. Majority of the groups, I am an admin. I've been around for many years. So people ask me to be an admin on groups so that I can filter and make sure there's no, incorrect disrespect going on. So we, like I said, I'm here to educate, empower, and inspire everyone. So we just we just do the best we can. So you can look up the groups. Facebook is great, great place to find groups. If you want a dating site, there's several apps. You can Google LGBTQ dating apps. I know there is a trans app. I'm not sure if it's still up. Translations. I'm not sure if it's still there, but it used to be. So Christian Mingle. I'm just joking. But I'm sure there's a lot of apps that are out that you can date and find someone for you. And as far as getting to know a trans guy, just say hi. My name is. Don't Don't say I've never dated a trans guy and I would like to try. We are not a thing. We are not your science project, right? Um, you can just say hi, whatever. Let's be friends and see what happens after let's be friends. Because the best way to start a relationship is being friends first.
All right. Gio has another question. Two questions, actually. Oh, wait. I think we might address the second one. Do you suggest any individual that is considered transitioning to be a friend more transgender males or women to be comfortable with who they are becoming? And what encouraging words can you give a person in the beginning stages of their transition? Kind of touch base on some of that, but you can answer. You've been giving encouraging words the whole night.
Okay. I'm trying to read through this again because it got me. So, do you suggest any individual that is considered transitioning to be a friend more transgender males or women to be comfortable with who they are becoming?
Um, do you suggest any individual that's considered transitioning and they are a friend of yours? More, oh, maybe, I don't know, you lost us, Gio, on this
Wait,
question.
maybe Geo is asking me, do I know transgender men or do I know transgender women that are comfortable with who they are becoming? Like which one do I know more? Maybe that's what the question is. Did I get it right, Geo?
Let me see, did she say something?
Which one
She
do
didn't
I
say
know
anything.
more? Either it's the trans males or trans women that are more comfortable with who they're becoming.
Oh, well, let's address that because that's a good question.
All right, so I basically know both, and I have been here since 2000 on my own, and many people come to me with questions about transitioning, surgeries, and I just refer them to the clinics. And there's many options here in New York. We have CK Life, Callan Lord. There's a lot of options, right? There a lot of these hospitals now are affirming Montefiore, NYU, Mount Sinai. Um, all of the hospitals are very affirming now, and Callan Lord
She said
has
she was driving. That's why the question came out crazy.
okay. And then the last part is what encouraging words can I give to a person in the beginning stages of their transition? Is to trust the process, right? Don't try to transition overnight. That's not how it works. Don't just get one shot and say, "Hey, I'm a man," right? It doesn't work that way, right? Um, take your time because you have to keep in mind that you have been in the body that you have been in for that amount of years. Trust the process. Take your time. Come into yourself. Don't rush. Don't rush challenge, right? Don't rush, right? um, seriously, get to know who you are becoming. Um, talk to other guys. Stay with people you trust, right? You're not in this alone, and you should never feel alone. Continuous talk to your therapist, right? Your therapist should be your best friend, and if they are not, you have the wrong therapist. Um, always stay in contact with your doctor, your medical procedures, if that's the route that you take. Not everybody medically transitions. Right? So just keep that in mind. And, and if you can't find anyone, I'm here. Pretty Tomboys is here. Davone is here. And Google. is your best friend.
Google's always your best friend. So we don't have any more questions. And I just want to thank you for being so transparent for this community, for always opening up your heart to everyone, and not just in the transgender community, but in the whole LGBTQIA plus community. As long as I've known you, Jevon, you have been a wonderful individual, someone that is easy to talk to, that is extremely knowledgeable, that's an overall amazing person. And I just want to tell you, just continue being who you are. Your light shines so bright, and you're helping so many people, and you're making us all so proud.
Oh my God, Davone, stop it. Thank you. Woo. Thank you. Thank you. I have always just wanted to be of service. And it's like I give and I give and I give. And sometimes I feel as though it's not received as positive, you know?
It's received. It is
Um,
received.
I I I could be doing so many different things. Right? I have a grandson, daughter, and I feel as though I've given my life to the community so much that I could have just been living my life and going. I have a wife now. I made a promise to her that I would step away from the community and pay more attention to the family. And it seems as though when I quit the MTA and I started working on me, I kind of got more work and more business, more panels and more projects, right? But it's more so um, to educate the community as opposed to you know helping individuals. It's more so on a bigger platform now. So stay tuned. There are several projects coming up.
Let's get into that project. I'm
Yes,
so excited about it.
yes,
I know Teresa's been like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my
finally,
goodness,
right? Finally.
waiting for us to discuss
So
that.
the major project, an
Yes,
announcement the other day was Teresa Thacker.
yes.
Those of
Amazing individual
that
that I've
know
known
her.
for years.
Yes, I've known her for many years too. And mind you,
Yes, up in nannies.
yes, she didn't even know who I was. And she was like, I don't know you. And I was like, yeah, you do. But you know who I used to be, right?
Right.
And yeah,
Did you do drag king shows and nannies
yes,
with
yes,
Nico?
yes. So yeah, but even before that, we were at Temperamental Tuesdays and Opalite.
You
And
taking it back.
yes. So I've been a part of that for many years, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't remember. Yeah, it was different back then. Yeah, so I also used to do security for knowings, right? So people don't remember when Trey used to have the parties. I did security.
Big parties was lit.
Yeah, yes, even Lisa S.
Yes, Lisa, yes. How parties, Buddha bar.
Yeah, I when we were Cinnamon Productions, I I did security, right? It's just funny, right? But that was before my transition, right? And so Teresa has CIA in Atlanta, and she hit me up and she said,
Communities in Action,
yes, community
CIA.
action, yes, CIA. I apologize. Um, and she said, I have property in New Rochelle. I'm from New Rochelle. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she was like, yes, it's an old church. And we want to do something with it. So she reached out to several people in the community to do something. And she's just been waiting. And I'm like, why wait? Let's go. Let's do it. So she hit me up and I went up there and it was raining. I went back up again just the other day, and I was able to take pictures and go live and make the announcement that New Rochelle will be having the first LGBT community center, because Teresa is allowing us to rehab, rebuild the property to make it an LGBT center in Rochelle. This is amazing. This is exciting.
Very exciting.
We are anticipating having a affirming church space. We want to build up depending on the air rights and have housing available, recreational space, pantry, possibly a garden to teach people how to.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like the possibilities are endless. We just got let me see, Teresa. I'm gonna talk about it. So Teresa just got a text message from uh the Pride, New Rochelle Pride, right? And so next week we're gonna have a call with them to see what they can do and how they can support fundraise to make this project go, right?
Yes.
It's well overdue. We're giving back to the community. Let's bring love back into New Rochelle. It's there, but let's bring a home to it, right? Because there's no home for people to meet, to build, and to grow, right? Let's have a space where people can come into and share, recreational space, a space to learn how to play music, right? Let's bring the music back, right? Um, just an open space. Let's have an open space area as well. The possibilities are endless. We're gonna see how high we can build and how far back we can go. And
Teresa, you got to get Sam that information.
yes, we are on it. We want to bring the community into this. We're gonna talk to Habitat for Humanity. I know some people here in New York, and Teresa knows her people. We're gonna build. We're gonna reach out to Home
Home
Depot,
Depot,
and
Lowe's.
this is gonna be a community project. Everyone that knows somebody. First, let's fundraise. Right? We have a Give Butter um, link up.
Yes, I posted the Give Butter in the group.
Yep.
Please give anything, 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, $100. We need
Right.
your help. Please donate. That's number one.
Right. And the best part is, for those of you that don't want to click on any links, pay attention. Text
Text.
NRLGBTQ to the number 202-858-1233. Now I'm going to repeat that.
And we're going to post it up in the group.
Yes, NRLGBTQ to the phone number 202-858-1233, right? And that'll take you straight to the site, and you can join the team. You can make your own fundraising team, or you can join my team, or you could join Davone's team, or you could join Teresa's team, make your own team, and we can make this happen together, right? And if your job does construction work, if you know somebody that does,
yes, we need everybody, all hands on deck. Construction, accounting,
yes,
business. We got an architect. We can take another architect. We need everybody. Everybody, all hands on deck to make this happen.
This is teamwork. This is for the community, by the community, right? And we want everyone to come on and make this happen. And it's endless possibilities of what we can do here. Let's show the city of New Rochelle what is capable, what the community is capable of doing, right? It's it's due time. We've lost so many party spaces, clubs, lounges. So let's have a home where we can go to and just sit and strategize. A computer room, right? A clothing exchange, pantry, um, a
job training,
food rescue, job trade, all of this, right? Let's do it. It's possible. We can make it happen. All businesses, let's come together and make this happen. We're in the beginning stages. We just started this, so whatever you can offer, all information is wanted and needed, and it starts here. It starts now, right? So community center, housing, everything. Let's do it, New Rochelle. Let's do it community, right? You don't have to live in New Rochelle to make this happen. I don't. I live in the Bronx. And Teresa is in
I
Atlanta.
live in Queens.
Yep. And Teresa is in Atlanta. She's making
Right.
right because we know someone that knows someone that knows someone. We're gonna make this happen. All right. So thank you.
So Teresa posted it up underneath here. We'll probably post it up again. Make tell yourself, I'm gonna donate $10 a week to this to this movement. I'm gonna donate $5 a week to this movement. I spend $10 in Starbucks. So don't drink that venti caramel macchiato for a week, for one day, and donate that money to this cause. We need to take care of our own. We are a community. We need to take care of our own. Nobody's going to take care of us. And even though we might be older and established, my daughter's gay. I know a lot of people that have children that are gay. They need a space to go to. We had a space. I mean, in New York, we have a huge LGBT community that we was able to go to. Every city needs to have a space for us. Every city. And this is just a start. So let's start here. Pretty Tomboys, let's all come together. That's what we do as a family. Let's get this done.
It's definitely doable, right? So I was looking at how many members we have in this group, right? And
close to 1,600.
Right. And so
$10 a member.
You already know where
you already know.
You already know where I'm going.
You calculate that?
Yes. Yes. So I'm like, it's possible to do this, right?
It is.
You know, that's $16,000 right there.
And that's a start. And that's just doing $10 this month. So if everybody say, I'm going to do $10 a month, every member in this group, we can collect $16,000 a month. We can get this done. We don't need anybody else to help us. If they help us, it is great. But if they don't, we can do this ourselves.
And even if you don't have the money to do this, right? I'm sure
you got a skill.
I'm sure you know somebody that knows somebody. Just hit the share button, right?
Thank you.
Because sharing goes a long way. You never know who might see it, right? And they might have more than $10, or they might have a contracting company, right? They could be contractors. You know, you never know. They could own a lumber yard and give us all.
We need grant writers. If there's a grant writer in here, we need grant writers.
Right, grant writers. We need board members.
Yes.
You know, we need a committee, right? We need the community to come together to let us know what the community wants.
Yes.
And what's needed. So advisory boards.
Yes.
Right? So we could all make this happen. It could also be a community space that we could rent out for, like, when people have birthday parties, or we could have a Saturday night Missy B dance party.
All right, Missy.
Right?
We got you working, baby.
and it's not even built yet, right? So
it ain't even built, we gotta work.
Right. There's so many different possibilities that we can have, you know, over there, like a block party. And right across the street is a huge park.
I miss block parties.
Yeah. I really feel like, you know, with this climate that we have now, that we're going to be bringing it back old school. A lot of things are going to go back old school because I don't feel safe. Club, not right now. I don't even feel safe going in Walmart with all these people. Not everybody's wearing their mask up underneath here, and I'm like,
right, nobody's covering their nose anymore.
And nobody's following the arrow going this way. People coming towards me. I'm like, yo, you supposed to be going that way. Why? What? You not following the signs on the floor? I'm following the signs. Yeah. All right, y'all. So
this was great.
Thank you.
We really appreciate everybody that came out and listened, learned, met Jevon for the first time, maybe, met me for the first time, maybe. Whatever the case may be, we appreciate all of you. Remember to donate, donate, donate. hit the inbox. Tell us what you can do. We're here. We love you.
Yes. Well, can I add one more thing, Davone?
Yes.
So for those of you that are in New York, right? Um, I just so happen to be Mr. Trans New York USA 2020.
Yes.
Right. So if you do need cultural competency training, if you do your job or you gender sensitivity training, I'm available to do this, right? For a fee, right? But I also, work with universities, hospitals, um, doctors, clinics, realtors, landlords to tell them about the transgender experience and how to talk to transgender people, how to receive them, and just show love, because trans people are being discriminated against, murdered at alarming rates right now. So our lives matter, all Black people's lives matter, because I'm Black first, right? But we need you all to stand with us when we say Black trans lives matter. That does not mean that your life does not matter. It means that right now we are being murdered at alarming rates, and we need you to stand with us. And if you didn't know today that the Black Lives Matter movement was built on queer people's backs, right? Check out and see who the leaders are. There was a trans woman who started BLM with queer people. Look it up. It's there. I know her. I was there rooting her on. So don't erase us. And everyone be safe and look out for the project in New Rochelle. I also have plenty other projects coming up, and you can go on my website, jevonmartin.com. You might see some pictures of you and I, and you get to see a little bit more of my work. Everyone stay safe, blessings, and thank you, Davone. I love you.
I love you more.
Peace.